Things. What's up, Bells? A couple things we said last night, man. We said it's great when you count on others and they count on you. That way, victory is produced by everybody, all right? And that's what tonight was, man. Fast, physical. We said anybody, anywhere, any motherfucking time, all right? So we did what we came to do, all right? So there'll be a number of game balls that will be issued out, I'm sure, tomorrow. But there's one motherfucker that ain't leaving this city without one. Cliff!
Gets open for three.
The kick in, here it comes. Swing and a miss. And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions.
You like that? You like that?
Oh, boy.
You like that?
You gotta like that, right?
All right, approval ratings keep going up.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Boys, I had to get the Redskins hat, not the football team and not the Commanders. I had to get the Redskins hat out. I wore this hat last week. FP and I sat very close to each other while watching the Commanders beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. We talked about that last week. We made our predictions, FP, and we came into this thinking we could win. But did you have them with the complete and utter destruction of the Cardinals in the desert? Did anyone have that on the bingo card?
I don't think any of us had that on the card. I don't think any of us are used to seeing such highly efficient, high-scoring offense. I mean, as much as I want to say I was high up on this offense earlier than most, nobody was seeing this offense turn into what it is. I mean, I couldn't get enough content injected into my veins from all the talking heads.
How many hours did you listen to?
Every X post, every Instagram reel, all of it, just stats and pictures and headlines across the national media. We became the banner for the NFL X and Instagram page. Like it's unheard of. I think this is 2012 hype, maybe even more because of how it's happening and kind of top down, everything just working out perfectly.
So I want to talk about that in just a second. But Stevie, can you confirm that you watched this game?
I mean, FP's acting
Please.
like, come on, man, clap it up, baby. This is our year. This is it. Come on, FP, show some emotion, man. That team.
Hey, you're the color commentator, baby.
I'm the fair weather fan, so that's why I'm here today. Okay, I am jumping on this bandwagon along with Stephen A. Smith, Dan Orlovsky, and all the brothers and everyone who's coming on board. There is a bandwagon, and we're driving it. Okay, we're driving the bandwagon because there was a moment, and then I'm done. There was a moment that encapsulates everything, which was 3rd and goal, 27-14. They had just scored a touchdown. Defense, bad. Defense, still bad, but work in progress and showed some improvement. But 27-14, 3rd and goal from the 10-yard line. Very, very hard to score. You know, you're just thinking, all right, let's get 3, still be a 2-score game. You think they're going to come back and score. And the feeling of, I expect him to make a play. I expect them to convert. And the O-line, you know what I said about the O-line, but I can't say enough. You know what I said about the O-line.
All right, it gets me sized. I know. This is it.
It gets me sized.
He loves his fatties.
Have your moment. Have your moment.
It gets me sized in ways that most people can't, okay? And I'm just saying, 3rd and goal, that O-line was incredible. I mean, the pocket that he had around him to step and throw and hit Terry in stride for a touchdown. I mean, the feeling of I expect him to make this play and he does it is a very foreign concept. Then I just hope Taylor Heineke throws it up and Terry McLaurin comes down. But that was the best feeling we've had by the
Maybe, I mean, Alex Smith, you knew he wasn't going to throw picks, but he wasn't going to throw it down the field either. There was, even with the pick on the 2nd drive, if I'm not mistaken?
Right.
There was a calmness to him as he's walking off. Like he recognized he made a mistake. It was also a great defensive play by the Arizona defensive back. Like it was fine. Like it was the first time in many, many seasons that I didn't immediately reach for the remote or reach for my phone to text the group and be like, it's done, it's over. There was just, hey, they're going to be okay. If this defense can get a couple stops, which they did, and we'll talk about the defense, you trust. I find myself trusting the offense to go get consistently points. And with that sounder that we played at the beginning, right? That was Dan Quinn in the locker room after the win, giving a game ball, or the first game ball, to Cliff. And he absolutely deserves it. And I'm going to be the first one to eat the dog food here and say, like, I was wrong. Like, this vanilla offense that we saw, I think FP, you deserve a ton of credit. LP does as well. They knew what they were doing. I think Cliff knew exactly what he was doing. And frankly, they slow rolled this offense where now you're seeing second, third, 4 reads on a pass play. And to Stevie, your point, there's protection there. And when the protection breaks down, Daniels is comfortable enough tucking the ball and running to a sideline or doing something with his feet. We haven't had that. Like, this is, FP, you made the comparison to the 2012 season. I think this is different. I think that team, I think you knew that Robert could do these things, but you were you just felt like maybe he was going to be prone to errors. At least I'm trying to remember where my head was at that time. With Daniels, like, all of the collegiate years of experience, it just feels like it's paying dividends for him. He's very poised. He doesn't get super high, doesn't get super low, right? To borrow a line from our old buddy Jim Zorn, just kind of medium. And he's out there just picking his spots and making things happen. And I want to talk about Terry McLaurin. I want to talk about, there's a lot of guys I want to talk about, but as a unit, as a team, this is incredibly impressive. And I think we all, so I went back and looked. So the 3 of us, when we did our pick'em, our schedule breakdown, right? Stevie and I both had them at 2-2. FP, you had them at, you had them at 3-1. So, like, you were spot on.
I'll take it.
Going into Cleveland this week, for them to only be, and I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but 3 points at home is basically a pick'em game. That's disrespectful given how many points Jaden and this offense have been hanging on defenses for the last couple of weeks. I'll stop there, but this was an impressive win. It was a complete, like, team effort. The defense we'll talk about, but from an offensive perspective, Stevie, they really couldn't have played a better game. I mean, you can't look at, like, how do you criticize this, our quarterback in DC right now for anything? Like, he's playing, like, damn near perfect football. And there was MVP talk. I mean, him and Sam Darnold, too, like, those are the only names that should be discussed right now, I think, in that conversation after 4 weeks. It's super early, but who is more valuable to their team?
I'm with you. He is certainly in the conversation for MVP, and it's 25% of the season. So it's not, too early. But I want to go back to the Jaden Daniels RG3, just so we can bury RG3 once and for all. I mean, the only similarity between them is their skin color. Okay. Because in 2012,
not
RG3, the MVPs of that season were the coaches who knew what he could do, and more importantly, knew what he couldn't do, and created an entire gimmick offense around the very limited things that he could do.
That's the key word right there. It was a gimmick offense with RG3.
The exact opposite is what I'm trying to say. I'm saying the only thing that got his skin color is Jaden Daniels was in complete control of that entire game from start to finish. And he made all the right reads, and he knew everything that was going on. He was able to read defenses, go high to low, do all that. And let's give some credit. Again, O-line is playing incredible right now. We kill Andrew Wiley. I kill Andrew Wiley. But the pickups they've had, low-key guys, the Cowboy guy, Allegrede, all these guys, they have stepped up.
Badass.
And the McNichols, the change of pace guy, B-Rob is playing better than he's ever played before. Yeah. And so, having Eckler, obviously the last couple games. And FP's guy, Noah Brown, love him. Love him. Okay.
Wow.
And OZ. And OZ too.
OZ or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's turning into a complete offense. And the beautiful thing is they are getting better week in and week out. And that's a scary thing for the mediocre NFC East and the NFC at large.
Yeah.
It comes down to
FP, give me 1 second here, because I want to comment on that. You sent the clip around, I think it was Thursday or Friday, of, I forget who it was. It was one of the former front office guys basically saying that going into the second Robert offseason, that the Shannies actually wanted to trade Robert because they basically went to Dan and said, "Hey, it's a gimmick offense. Like it's going to catch up with us." And I found it fascinating, Stevie, that you brought up that point because now you've got somebody like on the record saying they tried, like they tried to get rid of Robert because he wasn't as complete of a football player as the scheme made him look. What we're seeing with Jaden is the opposite, right? He is a complete football player, and the scheme is now it's really tailored to him. And tremendous credit to Cliff and the offensive unit and the coaches for making it happen. FB, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. I'm just saying that the biggest thing, and you kind of hit on it earlier, was those 55 collegiate starts that he had, right? Jaden Daniels is coming in a little bit older, but he's coming in so well seasoned, and you see it with his calmness and poise in the pocket. Nothing phases him. The interception didn't phase him. Nothing phases him. But the credit, and this is kind of from the week 1 to week 4 difference with Cliff Kingsbury's offenses. Week 1, us and a lot of people nationally were so quick to judge Cliff's offense because in Arizona, in his air raid offense version 1, we'll call it, it was a lot of screens. It was a lot of horizontal play. It was a lot of scrambling Kyler. But if you go from 5'0" Kyler to 6'4" Jaden, right? Whatever Cliff learned in his time in Thailand or whatever, it's air raid offense plus power football plus deep shots. It's like the perfect mix of everything that you need in that offense. And yes, this is different from 2012. I think through 4 games, RG3's numbers were slightly better than what we're seeing from Jaden Daniels, from rushing touchdowns to passing yards. Like he has like the slight edge, but it was all gimmick. And us as fans under like halfway through Snyder's ownership, we were like, this is fantastic. We can actually put up points. We can actually look like a real team. But all of us, like Joe was saying, we were cautiously optimistic. But this, from the ownership down, from Harris dapping up Terry in the hallway to being in that locker room with Dan Quinn giving Cliff the game ball to Peter, to Adam Peters on the sideline, like you see it from the top down, and all those names that Steve mentioned, that was Adam Peters, right?
Yeah.
Immediate
the roster
difference
fill out,
makers.
the roster fill out on the offensive side of
Immediate
the ball.
difference makers,
Yes.
both sides, right? The eye for talent that Peters has, right? Dropping Jahan, bringing in Noah.
Did Jahan even register a catch?
No, Jahan
with all the receivers out in
it's
Philly.
Fantastic. No, he hasn't done anything. But just immediate difference makers. Luvu, Wagner, Chin. You're seeing all these guys.
Yeah.
Dorrance Armstrong, like everybody's just piling on right now.
Yeah, and the defense. Look, the defense is not. I'm not going to say the S word here, right? They're not that caliber, right? They may be playoff caliber, maybe, right? Because the offense is so good. Maybe I don't know, but like they're going to have to find ways for that defense to just scheme and be better. Right? I don't know how.
I mean, you scheme and be better, yeah. But I think going from week to week to week, the thing that we're starting to see is they're being coached up with whatever talent they have. You're seeing gang tackling. You're seeing swarming to the ball. You're seeing multiple big stops needed. I mean, even last week, against the Cardinals, you're seeing Payne and Allen suddenly emerged, and somebody who's mobile and Kyler gets sacked 4 times. Like we're witnessing coaching, and I think that's what none of us are used to here.
Yeah, we're used to your boy on the sideline with his
actual coaching.
Yeah,
position coaching, like Anthony Lynn getting B-Rob and Eckler and McNichols up. Like we have a real running back coach now. We all know my beef with Ron's running back coach, but like we have a real running back coach now.
You just didn't like her because she was a woman?
I don't like a running back coach that has never been a running back, because with running backs specifically, you have to talk to them about the vision and what they're doing while they're in their
woman.
She was a woman.
Yeah.
I thought it was Ernest Biner.
We had a chick for a running back coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first one. It was a DEI hire.
Yeah, and now she's over on the Bears, and that's why DeAndre Swift disappeared until 5 minutes ago.
Is her name Kamala?
How many things am I going to have to dump in one episode? No, look, I do want to talk. I do want to talk about B-Rob for a second though, because like you knew he could do what he did on yesterday, right? You knew he could do that. To me, it was his most complete game as a professional, and maybe it's a little bit of recency bias, but do you recall a game where he just was untackleable? Like he was gonna punish people. The broadcasters, we got like the D team yesterday, of course, but they called it out. They said like this guy doesn't go for the sideline. He's gonna punish a DB. Anybody who comes up to him, he's going to get a hit, especially in the first and second quarter, and it pays dividends as the game wears on. Like people, you don't want to keep getting hit by the the battling rim. Like it's constant. Like this guy is constant.
He was like that last year. We just stopped using him after 10 plays.
I mean, that's fair, but I'll go back to something I said, was it last week or the week before? The biggest difference in the running game to me, as amazing as Eckler has been, and McNichols looks great. There's no fumbles. There's no fumbles, especially when you're in the red zone or getting close to it. You're not losing valuable possessions. In fact, they are converting almost every possession into a scoring, into points. I mean, Rivera with 20 seconds in the half, Rivera's going to come out and take a knee. Doesn't matter where the ball was where it was going to be placed.
Yeah,
right. I appreciate that this team is going after it. And Dan, again, I was very critical of this coaching staff after week 1. But as we sit here now, I mean, there's a couple games going on right now. I don't know if you guys are watching. I'm watching on my iPad here, split screen. But like we're a couple hours away from the end of week, week 4. The Buccaneers are for real, right? Like let's talk about the Eagles for a second here. Like the Eagles and Cowboys expected to be contending for NFC East dominance, and the Eagles for NFC overall dominance. The Commanders right now, even with the leaky defense, who's going to pick against them right now? Like the Eagles can't get anything moving forward with all. I mean, the Eagles look like a complete mess. I know our buddy Pete from Philly. He's got other things going on in his life right now. I know he's monitoring the news and everything else these days.
Yeah, get ready for taking a bunch of losses in the coming weeks.
Great,
okay?
Right?
Take a bunch of L's.
Really bad right now, but that team is an actual mess. But to Tampa's credit, like maybe Tampa's for real, FP. Like maybe this is something that you said early on. Like maybe we learned that this team is actually going to contend. And be there.
Still a playoff roster, and Baker's no slouch at quarterback. I mean, he had Cliff, right? Like it worked. I mean, the funny thing about looking at the NFC East now is each team is dealing with what the Washington Redskins have dealt with, except we dealt with it all at once, right? So the Cowboys are dealing with terrible owner GM decisions, right? They didn't get Derrick Henry. They didn't adjust the roster. They're wasting all their money. Terrible, right? The Eagles dealing with terrible head coaching. He's not leading the team. He's not getting the guys ready. They come out flat. They're doing everything terribly
between head coach and
right.
quarterback. And
then the Giants are dealing with pretty solid roster, good weapons, but pretty good coach, but they just don't have the quarterback piece. So
I would say they're below average coaching, but yeah. You're right.
Well, Dable's not a bad coach, right? He's getting a lot out of Daniel Jones. But the point is, he's getting a lot
out of Malik Neighbors.
Well, that's true. But each one of those teams is dealing with what the Commanders would deal with. The problem is we just had all three of them at the same time. And that's why at the start of this season, our first podcast of the season or whatever, when I was saying this is the first time that we've had owner, GM, coach, coordinator.
That's your line. We should make you a t-shirt.
All of them from top to bottom. It's perfectly lining up for us, right? And everybody coming into the draft was like, oh, Caleb's going to the Bears and they have like the best environment for somebody to come in and win. Everybody just kind of disregarded the Washington team. But if you look at it, we really were the best setup. And that's why the comparisons now, RG3 buried. Now you look at CJ Stroud and those comparisons, and it's kind of mirroring that. Right?
But I feel like he's doing more with less. Like that's just what my feeling is right now, right? Stroud had, a healthy Tank, healthy Nico Collins. I'm forgetting who that third receiver was.
Noah Brown.
No, was it? Oh yeah. No. Was he the third option on the team? I don't think so. was Tank, Nico.
Thank Nico and Noah.
Okay. Anyway, I just feel like the mileage may vary here week to week with what the Commanders can actually do on offense. I don't think anyone had them going 30 plus back to back. It's the first time they've done it since the franchise has done it since 91, since
91 season.
right? So like that's crazy for all the RG3 comparisons and even those Kirk years. To think this is the first time that they've hung 30 points back to back. There's something special here. There's something for sure that's happening. And now they're home for the Browns. And Stevie, I think you'll
Maryland for the whole month of October because your only away game is Ravens.
Yes. And Stevie, you're going to be in the building.
I mean, how's that building gonna feel on Sunday?
It better be rocking.
If it was any team except maybe Cleveland or there's a handful, I would be a little concerned that the fans will come out or they'll take over. But Cleveland is what's the term?
They're not traveling. They're not
I
traveling.
was gonna say it's gonna be the perfect storm. I mean, it's gonna be the perfect storm of a bad.
You think they get
opponent.
70%? You think the Skins get 70% of the stadium? 70 is a big number. That's like 55,000 fans. There's 55,000 of us left.
Hey, I saw what they did in Arizona. I mean, that was impressive.
That's
Yeah.
true.
They were
Basically, they had home field advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so this may have awakened this like sleeping. I mean, we know this fan base.
I was at an event yesterday, and people that like know nothing were like, "Oh, aren't they playing?" Like a year ago, nobody's paying attention when they're playing or anything else. I feel like there's just a little murmur here and there, like, "Oh yeah, don't they have that new kid?" Like the diehards are always going to watch, and we're always going to be. I'm going to say that, like as fans, we're always going to be interested. It's the passerbys, it's the randos that will eventually go out and buy. Yeah, it's the Stevies that'll buy the little flag to pin on their car, right? If the season keeps going the way it is.
I'll tell you the difference. It's do I check my calendar to see what time the Skins are playing, or do I just go ahead with plans no matter what on Sunday? Now we're at the stage where I check my calendar.
Look at this, FP. Look at this.
I would just say get to the point where the game actually trumps whatever the plan is.
I think
I'll check the calendar.
That's the whole point. That's what I'm saying.
See back? I don't know.
But this guy admittedly in years past had watched 0 minutes of a game, did zero prep, and then would come on the podcast and talk about how much he hated the offensive line.
But the funny thing is he didn't need to watch the game. His hot takes were 100% accurate.
Now you want to watch. This is the biggest difference. Like I felt like in years past, LP would say the same. I think we were compelled to watch, knowing the doom and gloom that was awaiting us on the other end after 3-4 hours.
I mean, switching to NFL Red Zone with 8-9 minutes left in the fourth quarter because the game was so locked up. I've never experienced that before.
Yeah.
I've never got to watch the second half of Red Zone. It was incredible.
I mean, I don't draft. No one cares about anyone's fantasy team, right? But I don't draft Commanders players because I can't. It's like I want to play them all, but I can't. Like, and now I feel like it's maybe the tide's turning just a little bit.
The question is, I don't know the rest of the schedule, but I know it's Browns, somebody, and then Ravens. Right, FP?
Browns, somebody, then Ravens. Yeah, let me pull it up.
Ravens
might be Browns and Ravens, is it not?
Ravens is I thought it was the week 6 game.
Steelers are November. Steelers are the first. Well, let's just look it up instead of guessing. How about that?
And while you're doing that,
Browns, Ravens, Panthers, Bears.
The NFL
and Giants, Steelers.
The NFL has the ability, I think, in weeks 5 to 12,
they can flex the Ravens.
Two games to Sunday night in that span.
Yes, they could flex Ravens. They could flex.
They should absolutely look at the Sunday night game for week 5.
Yeah, it's a terrible one.
It's a terrible one. That's a game to flex. Lamar versus JD5, prime time, under the lights at M&T.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a flex. I mean, what player, after watching all the First Take and Stephen A. Smith, and what player has captivated the league more so than Jaden Daniels right now?
No,
nobody.
We're the story of the league.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
if the Bears,
well, honestly, the only other player would be Lamar and Derrick Henry. That would be a close second. Yeah,
those are probably the two most exciting quarterbacks in the league right now.
Yeah,
Josh Allen's doing his thing, but I mean, Josh Allen.
He got poo-pooed on.
Mahomes sucks.
Well, he doesn't
Sucks.
suck. I mean, he's taking out his own players now, but he's not. I wouldn't say he sucks, but I would be interested to see if they flex that game, or if they flex the Bears. Right? If Caleb can get a couple more wins, like wouldn't you want to put the 1 and 2 up against each other? Maybe. No.
Nobody.
It's
no,
not
I mean,
a.
the Bears don't have a product that's worth flexing, right? So let's play hypotheticals. If the team comes out next Sunday and they just put another ass whooping on a team, right, on a good Browns defense,
Yes.
and we're hanging up another 30 plus points, all of a sudden the NFL is going to see like freaking fireworks and diamonds in their eyes, and they're going to see another barn burner, and they're going to see high scoring affairs. That's all they want for prime time.
Look, they are in a very real position to be 7-2 by November 10th when they get to the Steelers.
Yeah,
Is that
if you have them
insane?
losing to the Ravens, yeah.
Is that insane? I mean, that's very. It's. I mean, they can beat the Browns. They will challenge the Ravens, and if they come out and look like they did against Cincy, they could win that game.
Where's the Super Bowl this year?
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
All right.
I already made an accommodation. I've got
right around Mardi Gras.
Yeah, we got local connections there. We'll be okay.
All
We
right.
got a place to stay. I didn't want to say it.
Hey,
I'm not gonna say
hey,
it. But like,
Hey, this stuff happens quickly. This stuff happens quickly.
We
Is
need
there-
to.
is there any
Am I the
scenario-
one that has to pump the brakes
is
on
there
YouTube?
any scenario
You
where
don't
we
need
are
to.
not going
Enjoy
if it works out that way? There's no scenario. We have to go.
I'm
ready.
just
I will empty my bank
bored
account.
right now that we are discussing hotel accommodations
let us
in
live.
New
We
Orleans.
didn't say anything about the hotel. The guy's got
Yeah, you know,
connections.
you know,
Hey,
Two,
look,
2 weeks ago, I had to tell you guys to be patient with Cliff's offense.
Welcome.
I love this fan base.
Yeah,
I love
welcome
it.
to the life of a Redskins fan. All right.
If we lose
a
to the
couple wins.
Browns, Joe's gonna come in here.
We can't lose to the
Oh,
Browns. We
we
cannot.
should've-
We
We should
can't
have
lose.
taken Caleb.
We can't lose to Deshaun. He's playing terrible. This defense should be able to get after him. Like, you got to neutralize one threat on offense for that team. One, maybe two. If you can keep them grounded, you're gonna be okay. They'll be okay.
what we're sleeping on is they did all of that in Arizona on a short week,
Yes.
not flying back home. Shout out to Josh Harris,
Absolutely.
springing
Yeah.
for the hotel.
No, but what a difference. But you're absolutely right. But what a difference. They spent the entire week in the 100-degree plus weather, practiced out there. Like, they had like good team time out there. I mean, this type of stuff pays dividends. Dan would have never done that.
Yes, he would. I was just kidding.
No, he
Come
No,
on.
even ex players and all the beat reporters, they're all saying Dan never would have
They'd
sprung
fly out on Friday.
straight from Cincy. No, yeah, they would have
would've
come
flown out
back,
on Friday. Yeah.
been in the soggy Ashburn rain bubble that doesn't actually stay
It
dry.
hasn't stopped raining in DC in a month. It's been a solid month of rain.
Now
and then-
we wouldn't be.
And then Saturday was 200 degrees.
Would we be real Redskins fans if? Is there any piece of you, like anytime there's anything good that happens, something catastrophic happens, right? Our free safety is an all generational talent, gets murdered in his home, whatever. Everything. RG3 busts his knee open in a playoff game.
The GM
Is there
can't
any
pronounce it.
chance that we're 7-2 in the beginning of November and a civil war breaks out?
If you're going, listen, if it's going to be political issues that happen when we're 7-2,
What if the
I will
season is
take that
canceled?
over player issues.
We're 7-2 and they have to cancel the season out of safety concerns for the Civil War.
That would be bad, right? But
It would be the most Redskins thing ever.
It's a very it'd be on brand for DC though, right? Like the Nationals win the World Series and then the
COVID
planet
hits.
shuts down. You don't get any any of the money that comes in to like all of the World Series winning, like all the stuff that comes with winning a World Series. We don't get any of that stuff, and then you just start saying goodbye to piece after piece after piece because the learners are you can say that they're greedy, but they didn't get the financial bump that other teams get from winning the World Series. They just didn't, and it's because of the timing of the world ending, when COVID hit. So I don't think we're going to see a civil war. I think if we were going to see it, we would have already seen it, I think, by this point. But yeah, okay. They'll be 7-2, and then that Tuesday would be his election going into the Steelers game. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Look how that buttons up nicely.
yeah. But then they're home for the Steelers, then they're, at Eagles, home for Cowboys, home for Titans, at the Saints. I mean, this is
But
I
you
mean,
know,
realistically, if you look at all let's keep it just NFC teams, you could probably go further. But if this offense keeps getting better and the defense just plays catch up, right? If they don't have to worry about keeping a lead because we just keep stacking points on, is there really any team that truly frightens you?
I knew you were going to ask that. The Saints and the Cowboys, because they can get points.
Well, why the Saints?
Well, the Saints have a very, very good running back.
barely
They've got 3 good receivers.
Points against the Eagles.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying, I believe in that offense. I think they're a well-coached team. Like every team is going to have some failures to launch from week to week, but they've got talent at skill positions, and they would pose a problem to the Commanders' defense. I think Dallas does too. But
I don't know what's happening behind your screen right now, but the Detroit Lions, from a complete standpoint, have just, for me, top to bottom. I mean, they got playmakers. No one can cover Amon-Ra. They got great running backs. Jared Goff's a winning quarterback. They're really well coached.
But they don't have to deal with Detroit. The teams, I think FB was asking, like, from teams on the schedule.
I thought we were talking about the NFC.
Saints, Cowboys, and FP from the NFC. I mean, this is not a hot take, but the Panthers with Andy Dalton are a different team. Deontay Johnson is like a real receiver who poses a problem for a secondary that doesn't have much speed. And Chuba Hubbard he's a pretty good running back, right? And Andy's going to keep slinging it. So like that's like that game was going to be a gimme, and now it's
definitely no gimme anymore. I'll give you that. But
they played well against the Bengals.
But
Andy
we're
Dalton,
saying,
the Bengals quarterback?
Yeah.
Yes, that one, the Red Rifle.
All right.
I'm just saying, if this offense can keep putting up 30+ points, which is not easy. I mean, I don't know how much content you guys have absorbed over the last 24 hours, but we are on historic statistical comparisons through the first 4 games.
Jaden is in very rare air with his completion.
Jaden is in Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning comparisons for the completion rates. But the offense as a whole, the efficiency, we are in like 99 Rams, 2007 Patriots. It is that level comparison. No, I'm giving you numbers, actual comparisons through four games.
This offense is as potent as the greatest show on turf.
Through 4 games, your efficiency is better than those teams. Is what I'm telling you.
I think your head. I think you hit your head.
I'm giving you actual statistical numbers that have been
okay.
shared.
Well, those teams played 12 games in a season, and we played 45. So it's
4-game sample size, offensive efficiency. You are in like elite comparisons of offenses. So if this offense,
are you wearing pants right now?
I mean, I'm about to take them off the more I talk about this.
I know you.
Offense can keep it going. What is to stop any?
A second ago, you were down my throat about the Super Bowl and going to New Orleans, and now you're telling me it's the greatest offense in the history of the league.
I did not say that.
I'm just Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss.
I'm giving you statistical comparisons of 4 games.
Are we going to get to JD Vance versus Tim Walsh?
I mean, we can do that, but can we talk about baseball? You and Matt were having a.
Where's Matt the man?
Matt the
ladies, the green room, baby. I was holding him in the green. Right? I should play a sounder for Matt when he comes on. But you guys, all day, like I'm in the middle of like the work day. I've got the thing on the thing, and the iPad is going, and I'm watching.
Forget the work day.
Ding, 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 and it's Matt. He's back from the dead, and the Mets are this and the Mets are that, and then 2 seconds later, the Mets, and then 2 seconds later, they stink. What, Matt? I don't know. Like, do we congratulate you or do we say we're sorry now? Like, what do we
just apologize from now? Because all I know is that in 3 days I will be crying.
See this guy,
right? Because that's the life as a Mets fan. Like, it's just a terrible experience, and of course they couldn't win it easily, but it was a freaking.
So, for the record, you wanted your team not to qualify for the postseason.
No. Of course, I want them to make the playoffs. But the problem is, Mets know how to crush their fans. Like it's not like look at 2002, like 22, right? We had the division sewn up. We lose it. We go to Atlanta. All we have to do is win one game. We don't do that, right? So, I mean, it's going to Atlanta is always a nightmare scenario. Okay, watching the Mets in Atlanta is a nightmare scenario. Watching the Mets blow leads is just something that Edwin D. I just can't.
Wait, Matt,
Matt,
just for the non-baseball people on here. Yeah. Just recap: the Braves and Mets were playing 2 games today,
right?
And if either team swept both games, the other team was eliminated from playoff contention.
Yeah, it was like
split.
Hold on, it was
then both teams got in,
similar to the Chargers and the Raiders a couple seasons ago, where both teams needed a tie and they both make the playoffs.
They were playing 2 games.
Yeah. And so there's a third team here. Arizona is dependent on one of those teams sweeping the other.
Arizona that won the World Series last year?
That was in the World Series, yes, but did not win
the World Series. Oh, yeah, the W's. Yeah. George W. too at the first pitch. Right. I haven't saved on my phone.
Long live George W. By the way, can we get him back? By the way, because is that
100%. Even Pete from Philly would take him in a.
Matt, don't be a rhino. Okay, don't be a rhino.
But okay, so yes. First of all, everyone else has played. Season's done. Mets and Braves get rained out. There's 2 games left. They have to play a doubleheader. All the Mets need to do is win a game to make the playoffs. If they win both games, they're going to San Diego instead of Milwaukee. By the way, Milwaukee owns the Mets right now. The San Diego is really, really hot and obviously really good team, Machado, Tatis, whatever. But if asking me, I would have taken my chances against San Diego. We've at least played them better this season. So anyway, we're going to the 8th inning.
I love the Wii, by the way. I love the Wii.
Sorry, yeah, my fandom.
It's the coach in him just coming out.
That's how you know you're a real fan.
So the
FP, you're still here, FP. Okay.
I'm still here. You might
so
see
Mets go to the good part. Everyone shut up and listen.
This is what these like to real to sports
fans. Dominated by this guy Schwellenbach, whose last name nobody can spell.
Oh my God.
Okay, dominated. All right, he is practically no hitting them. Whatever, they've gotten 2 light singles off the guy, and for some reason they pitch him into the 8th inning. The guy's never pitched into the 8th inning. He's a rookie, really good kid, gonna have a good career. Never pitched into the 8th inning. First guy has an 11 pitch at bat, hits a big single, and all of a sudden the Mets start scoring. So they put up 6 runs in the top of the 8th. So you're like, okay, 6-3. You're gonna bring in Diaz. You're gonna wrap this up. Of course, Diaz, I don't know if it's his hurt meniscus or whatever it is, doesn't run to first base to cover the bag. So he gives them an extra out. Next thing you know, the Braves put up 4 in the bottom of the 8th. Now it's 7-6. Once again, the Mets have crushed the dreams of their fans. And then Frankie Lindor comes up after Marte gets a clutch single and hits a homer over the right center field wall. And I got to tell you, like, Lindor, I know Ohtani, whatever Ohtani's done, Steve, we need to have a show about what Ohtani is and isn't.
We bless you, we serve you, we worship you.
The best baseball player who's ever played. Period.
God.
Joe, it's to do what he does at both sides of the ball is unheard of. Anyway, Frankie Lindor.
This feels like an appropriate time to say RIP to Pete Rose.
Oh yeah, rest in peace, Pete Rose. I just read that.
And Dikembe.
Not the Undertaker.
Not the Undertaker. Well, the Undertaker.
Watch the McMahon documentary. Put the McMahon documentary on the list.
Yes. Let it. I'll put it on the screen behind me. All right, Matt. Please finish the 9th inning, please.
9th inning, Frankie Lindor hits a home run, right? The Mets are now up 8-7, and they still got to put the Braves away, right? And of course, they put in Edwin Diaz, the guy who just blew the game an inning ago. Mind you, pitched 26 pitches yesterday and is throwing more pitches than that. Anyway, they end up winning the game. And then the second game, basically the Braves have to win to get in, and the Mets don't care anymore because they're in the playoffs. So
why are the Braves in a wild card playoff game? Are they not good enough? Were they not like a preseason favorite to run away?
They were decimated by injuries this season. The fact they are in the playoffs is actually a credit to them, and not like the Braves. Any lesser team would have folded. They lost Acuna, who was one of the top 5 players in baseball. They lost him for the season. They lost Riley. They lost their top pitchers for 2 months at a time. The fact the Braves were playing on the last day of the season to get into the playoffs is actually a credit to the Braves.
Did the Mets let them win the second game?
Yeah, the Mets didn't care. I actually think people want the Brewers instead of the Padres. So I think the Mets were like, whatever. We're in the playoffs wherever we go. The plane's fueled. Steve Cohen's footing the bill. Who cares? We're flying somewhere. We're gonna go play somewhere. It didn't matter. And you saw it in their at bats. They were 2-3 pitch at bats. They were trying to put the ball in play. They were swinging at pitches they had no business pitching at. They just wanted to get on a plane and play tomorrow, which they're doing.
All due respect to Matt. Okay, the guy's learning a different language right now. Okay, how's that going, Matt? Okay.
By the way, my Elifs and Biz are incredible.
Nobody knows what that means, but it sounded
we have
dirty.
a segment on the show called Alphas and Betas, but let's keep
With all due respect to Matt, the only story right now of this playoff starting tomorrow is the introduction of Shohei Ohtani to the casual baseball fan who will tune in and see the greatest player in a generation on the biggest stage in sports, surrounded by an incredible team around him that will essentially catapult that team. And if there's a clash of titans, if the Yankees find a way to make it to the World Series, Yankees, Dodgers, coast versus coast, giant versus giant. The Yankees have several giants, but Judge versus Ohtani, Freeman versus Soto, Betts versus Stanton. The storylines are going to be incredible.
Stevie, let me add one more storyline. Dodgers pitching has been terrible all season. Ohtani has been he's been benched from pitching all season, but he's actually ready to pitch in the playoffs. The likelihood that this guy is going to start a game in the playoffs is really high because he's probably their best pitcher and he has no wear and tear on his arm this season and he's been rehabbing all year. And the guy's good for a few. That's the storyline.
Is Tyler Glasnow still hurt?
Glasnow's hurt. I think they've got Bueller, Yamamoto, some guy I never heard of, and I forget who they're for. But yeah, they're not. Their pitching staff is in shambles.
Is Max in the playoffs?
No, Max is getting paid $30 million by the Mets, but not on their roster
to pitch for someone else,
and $15 million by us.
Good for him.
Max Scherzer's won at life.
Good for him. The betting markets have the Phillies, the Yankees, and the Dodgers as the favorites. Are you guys taking any of those teams or the field to win the World Series?
Yeah, it's one of those three. I think it's the Dodgers.
And I'm hoping it's not. I just have to cheer against the Phillies because I hate the Phillies, but they're obviously very talented.
The one thing that the Phillies have that the Dodgers don't have is an ace pitching staff, man.
Yeah.
Wheeler, Nola, they can. But honestly, I don't want to face Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, back-to-back, Will Smith. The Dodgers are just loaded, and the Yankees don't have The Yankees have a pitching staff, but they don't have anybody past
the big boys.
Judge and Soto, and then sometimes Stanton, right? Sometimes a third guy. So I think you can actually pitch around those two and win a series. That's where Houston is kind of dangerous again in the American League.
So the Astros just are always in the playoffs, always seem to be contenders, and the manager who is in Detroit was the sign stealer.
Garbage can guy. Yeah. AJ Hinch. Yeah.
So now he's going back to Houston where he stole signs?
That's a good storyline too. Yeah. He stole signs.
Baseball Joe.
Got him a championship.
Wow. Look at Joe. I didn't even know that.
FP, did you see that?
I heard it.
Okay. FP's got his pants off. He's got no time for this.
He's focused in on Jaden Daniels. But
are we going to talk about Trump?
We can, but I want to hear. I want to hear a little bit more. Like the Astros, like this team, seemingly is always like an actual contender. They just got to get there, and it seems like this season is no different than the last 8 or 9 because they're just always there.
The one thing they have is they know how to do it, right? That's the one thing that nobody else, right? Really, nobody else in the playoffs can say. Phillies have gotten close. The Diamondbacks, the Braves have won a couple years ago, right? But this team that the Astros have, they just know how to win. Like Altuve, right, whether he's got a sensor on under his jersey or not, I don't know. But that guy the guy knows how to hit. Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, their lineup, their pitching staff, they're a well-crafted team. They're well-designed. They're made for the playoffs. And I actually think they come out of the American League. I actually think they beat the Yankees again because I think they will know how to stop Judge and Soto. They won't be afraid of those two guys. They'll pitch around them and they'll take their chances with the rest of the team. And I think it's a recipe for success. I think it'll be Dodgers Astros in the World Series.
The the first round of baseball playoffs is 3 games.
Tomorrow.
3 games, but it's 3 games. It's a
games.
3-game series.
Best
3 games all at the home team. So there's no road. There's no
When did
road
that
game.
change?
A couple seasons ago. That's when the Mets won 101 games and lost to the Padres in the first round and eliminated.
I mean, the Mets. I'm reading here quickly online. I'm just scanning like through X, and the biggest upset to watch for is the Mets. People seem to think the Mets can beat the Brewers. I don't know.
I'll tell you what the Mets do have. Okay, the Mets have a lineup that can mash. Okay, it can actually mash. They're one of the top 5 or 7 scoring like teams. They have top 3 in the National League in hitting home runs. When this lineup is actually hitting and effective, they can really put up runs. Since June 1st or June 3rd, they have the best record in baseball. Their starting pitchers are good, not great, but they've been pitching great, whether it's Severino or Manaea or David Peterson. So where they're dangerous is if they put it all together in a series like that, taking 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, like they can put it together. And that's where the Mets are dangerous, right? You need a bad outing from the guy on the other side on the Brewers, a good outing from the Mets. All of a sudden, they could surprise people. They remind a lot of people of the Diamondbacks last year in that regard, right? And other like wild card teams. It's been shown, and I think, Joe, it's a pretty interesting thing that we're seeing in baseball is wild card teams, because they've been basically playing playoff games now for the last month of the season. They tend to be better suited for playoff scenarios coming in, and I think they're carrying over from the way. So the Mets could be dangerous, but as a Mets fan, I know not to put my heart into that. So I'm just going to pick someone else and let them surprise me.
Talk about relief pitching. Matt DeMet came in here strong, full of energy.
I know.
Okay, I'm fading right now. Matt DeMet is carrying the show.
I was getting texts they're like, please save them. I was like, all right, I'm jumping on.
Okay.
I have 2 more. The Orioles. Can we talk about the Orioles?
Yeah.
I know, Stevie, you're probably allergic to talking about the Orioles, but
the Orioles.
Okay, well, this isn't. I mean, to me, it's interesting. Like they in my lifetime, before like pre-Nats, right? There was like the Cal Ripken era, and then there was another shortstop that came. I don't remember his name.
Brady Anderson in center field got roided up and hit 50 home runs.
2 seasons of like fantasy baseball later. Like I didn't care anymore, but like
Mike Mussina, shout out.
I think wasn't Rafael Palmeiro on the team too?
Oh yeah,
right. Like big steroid head. But this is, I mean, the last time they faced the Royals too. Like, what I don't know what to make of the Royals. Like the last time they were in the playoffs, didn't they win the whole thing?
2015, beat the Mets.
So, yeah, there was like a whole documentary. I don't know. Like, I just find it interesting that nobody really is. No one seems to care about the Orioles, or the Royals. Like they're just kind of playing a series.
They are for many. So the Royals last year lost over 100 games, and this year made the playoffs. Not many people are really talking about that turnaround. I think people think it's just a year too early for the Royals to even be talked about. They don't really, again, good pitching staff. They have a player that's going to be one of the best players in baseball.
Bobby Witt.
Shortly. Bobby Witt Jr. Know that name. I mean, that guy's good. Joe, you have research. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Yeah. So Bobby Witt.
Let me tell you about Gunnar Henderson too.
Really, really, really fun to watch. So I would watch Royals and I'd watch the Orioles because like the future is really bright for those teams, but nobody expects them to right now compete with the Astros, the Yankees, right? At least things can happen, but the pedigree of the Astros and the Yankees is they've been made for this time. Those teams have been built for this time of year. And I would love to see the Orioles and Royals go for. I think that would be fun in the same way the Diamondbacks did, but MLB doesn't want that. If we're being honest, right? They want a World Series that people are going to want to tune into. Sign if you could ask them tomorrow, pour serum into. They want Aaron Judge versus Shohei Ohtani, right? That's what everybody wants, right? You want the big matches.
I know He's immediate.
What I want, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, right. So
that's a MAGA World Series right there. Okay,
that is
won't let it go. Dump. Listen, it wasn't too long ago you made me go in and actually delete an entire segment of the show. You're feeling all bold and hot, and it was like this and that, and then you're like, remember, not to put you on full blast, but
I remember Joe.
Can you please edit this piece?
Hey, there's 2017 Stevie and 2024 Stevie. We already identified the difference, okay?
What's the ethnicity of Tariq or Tariq Skubal? Was he Turkish? Does anybody know?
I actually don't know.
I don't know.
Is that in the Vince McMahon documentary?
Isn't he? He's a baseball guy. Isn't he a baseball?
Yeah,
guy?
he's a baseball. Detroit Tigers pitcher, man. Guy's gonna win the Cy Young this year. He's, I mean, he's filthy. He's filthy, and I think,
How
I
much
think with the
baseball
Tigers,
do you consume? It's too much. It's too much.
it's a curse, right?
You've got to be the only person that subscribes to like the season pass for
You
baseball.
get it for free with T-Mobile.
Yeah, T-Mobile gives it for free.
Okay, but if
You subscribed years ago, you're like MLB, T-Mobile.
You text
right?
me a year before that Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Okay, but my motivation to sign up or to get it is I want to watch in 4K. And like I show my kids, like, look how cool the grass patterns are. And then after an inning, I'm out. Like I can't watch 162 games of anything.
But listen, this is what MLB actually does. Their app is really well designed. The fact you can watch multiple games, 4 games at a time, right? You can actually tune in on great at bats. They have the MLB, the big inning, right, where they go into games. You get to see
it's red zone.
It's red zone for baseball, but it goes into live action all the time. And I'm telling you, it's actually a good way to keep fans involved. You don't have to like follow these teams.
You know, it's a good way to keep fans involved. Pitch clock.
Pitch clock saved baseball.
And what I would like to see next is that at 2 hours and a half, like 30 minutes, they just end the game. It doesn't matter what inning. You just
this is the most unpopular opinion you'll have on this show, but football has become unwatchable.
Hey, I'm with
the
you.
amount of commercials that are on,
too many
right? Like it's ridiculous. It's 3.5 hours, and 2 of them are
many years
Thursday
ago.
night game, Cowboys Giants. I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Every other play.
Actually fixed their problem.
Yeah.
Football's got a huge problem.
You know what makes it more valuable, Matt Demet? JD5, baby.
Matt Demet is not. Matt Demet is a Giants guy, right? You're not a Jets guy. You're a Giants.
I'm not a Jets fan. No, I am a Giants guy, but I admit that, like, not proudly, but
What do you make of Daboll? We had a back and forth. Is he an above average coach?
He's an above average coach with above average players, but when you give him a crap quarterback, he can't do anything, right? So I think that's probably the problem. Is like I blame the front office, like the way that they've drafted over the past few years, the way that they've put that team together. They don't know when to cut their losses. You give Daniel Jones a 5-year for what? What did he show?
Not everybody could have a front office like Washington. I'm just
I'm saying.
Look at this guy.
You guys deserve to ride high for these first 4 games. I will say, JD5.
I mean, you're not cheering a little bit. You're not cheering just a little bit for this team, for the local team, not to be trash.
You know what? I'm enjoying watching you guys relish in something that isn't misery for a while. Like, it's kind of fun. I'm kind of happy for you guys.
We have had misery.
My kids on the cusp of picking a team. Kind of a thing.
I was just going to say, JD5's playing just good enough that he's going to make an internal house rivalry.
And he's going to and he's about to pick the Redskins or Commanders, whatever you call yourselves, right? And so, and I'm kind of like, you know what? I can't be mad at that, because if I was his age right now watching these 2 teams play, I would make the same choice.
We were his age once.
Yeah, we were his age once.
Matt,
and
give me a curse word in Arabic. Give me a curse word in Arabic right now. Joe will dump it. Don't worry.
No, I'm not. It's not. Listen,
Joe will dump it.
I'm gonna start charging you all for producing the show. All right.
I'm dying to say so many words right now.
We haven't covered it yet. It's a Christian Arabic school.
We don't have the bleep button. That's
I do have a bleep button.
Let's test it. I'll say something.
If the Mets win the World Series, I will come on and curse on your show.
There you go. There you go.
You heard it here first.
I'll put a bleep button into the board before next week. But
I get to pick the word.
Fine.
Save it for the show after the show, where we talk about some of the other topics.
I can't be held accountable for what's said because I didn't pick the word.
So
we're not talking about Trump. That's it.
No, I mean,
save it for post Civil War kickoff.
This is the F block. This is your block, Stevie. Go ahead. What would you like to discuss?
Well, I mean, I think there's a big showdown tomorrow, and I think there could be a debacle that is forming in the.
He'll have his earpiece in. He'll be fine.
No. Earpiece won't even save his brother.
Did you see that?
His brother's a disaster, man.
Wow.
Which brother are we talking about?
Tim Walz. That's the only disaster that I'm talking about. JD Vance will be fine. He's a lawyer,
he'll be okay.
Well-spoken. This guy, and I think there's an October surprise coming on Tim Walz.
Do you think Do you think she
What,
regrets her
following
decision?
Hillary Clinton? Because then she talk about an October surprise. Look at you, Stevie.
Well, Hillary thinks it's on Trump, but I think
Okay.
Hillary's got other problems, and they start with P. Diddy. Okay, like she's got big problems.
well,
Why?
if she's
why
got
the
problems, then
Clintons
Barry
associated
Obama's
with
got
the
problems too.
Epsteins and the Diddy's? Like, what's going on there? Right? Do we know there's something else to talk
The
about?
Diddy situation, honestly, it's very upsetting. And the
Do we have
more
time on the show for this for the Diddy situation? Because that's yeah.
we have all the time in the world, but this for like it's bad. Like it's bad. I mean, for all the hype, not hype. That's the wrong
Just
word.
Black Epstein. That's the end of the conversation. That's all it is.
No, dude, no.
That's all it is. Epstein Island, Diddy's house. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Can we do something positive for once? Can we give a shout out to Russell Brand? Because that dude is
Found the faith.
changing people's lives for the kingdom.
Yeah.
And that guy is, I don't know what got into him. We do know. I mean, we have a faith background as well. But shout out to Russell Brand.
Since forgetting Sarah Marshall, right? Like he's come a long way. But he's
That's
also been outspoken, and he's been canceled.
And he's been like based. Like he's been like, he's not crazy like Kanye. Whatever his name.
The media paints him as crazy, but he's not crazy.
They paid him.
Because they can't let go of his past, right? And that's probably what we all do, right?
He also goes on. He goes on with Stevie's boy with Mar, right, and gets into it with the panelists and stuff. And you still watching Mar? Is 2024 Stevie still? Yeah, I thought so.
The only Democrat I can
Speaking
stand.
of,
Okay?
if we're doing kudos to the young Griffin guy on the Rockets. You read that story recently. Just drafted a couple years ago, is leaving the Rockets to go into ministry. He wants to serve God, wants to do work for the kingdom. Right?
There was a kid that just left the Atlanta Hawks to do the same thing.
Oh, maybe it's that guy. Maybe he left the Hawks. I don't know what team he's leaving, but there's a guy in the NBA leaving his team to go. I told basketball is not my thing as much as baseball, right? But still, kudos, man. Like I respect that a lot, big time. So,
well, I mean, look, we talk about like Dikembe did a tremendous amount off the court, and like a lot of these guys set examples that I think are I think they're honorable, right? Like I just think they do. Like a lot of them use their platforms for good, right? But it's very rare, to Matt's point, to see somebody young drafted and just basically say, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Hey, JD5, every interview he does, man's legit. Man's legit.
RG3 did that too once upon a time, right? Like there's a lot. Oh, I'm just saying, like there's a lot of athletes that will, give
they
that.
Do it for the optics, but not.
Wait, Tebow did it too, but half of America hated him for it, right? So like. I mean,
Tebow was, yeah, that's a good point too. Look, I'm not saying,
man. This chick is silly.
I'm not. He's silly. He's silly. Look at his body.
Tebow has taught.
Tebow's genetics
Tebow's taught us how to do.
ESPN's been on too long there, Joe.
Huh?
So you've had ESPN on too long.
Oh, it switched off of. Hey, am I the FP and I talked about this last week. I think we're the last two people that watch Chris Berman on NFL Countdown or NFL. What's the hell's it called? Primetime.
Yeah.
He came back.
I mean,
they brought him back for Monday night halftimes to do the quickest 3 minutes.
Uh-huh.
He has his like spin off of that with Booger, but the problem is
no. Hold on, you're showing your age here. NFL Primetime was the show that everybody watched on
from
Sunday.
7 to 8 p.m.
Everybody watched that show.
Yeah,
it had the black guy from the Broncos.
He passed, right?
Thomas.
He's dead. He's dead.
Yeah, he passed.
Dead.
Yeah,
he passed.
Brother died.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
What's his name? No, he didn't. Where's Google?
Oh God, I don't like throwing out.
Was it
Tommy something?
Tom something. Yeah, Tom.
Tom Jackson.
Tom Jackson. TJ.
Tom Jackson. NFL Primetime. Let's see what Google says. Yes, linebacker. Broncos. Does not say he's dead. I think he just quit.
I'm telling you, man.
I think he got tired of the sound effects that were coming out of Berman and Jackson would return for digital only NFL, whatever program side, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wait.
It doesn't say he's dead.
Maybe he's not
dead.
He's not
dead. He's dead.
He's not dead.
Apologies for Tom Jackson.
He's very alive.
I'm so sorry.
He retired from ESPN mid-season, and then your boy Booger took over.
Yeah.
Booger, he's terrible.
Booger's
But anyway,
awful.
my point was like that's what was on the TV behind me. Like I still enjoy watching extended highlights without everybody opining on like every single play, and it's the sound effects. I don't know, it's just simpler time. But I don't think
You
you
get
guys.
them on YouTube. You know that.
I watched
YouTube.
I watched the 35-minute like condensed game, and it was great. That's actually a feature. I don't know why we don't use that more frequently.
Yeah, the condensed games are better than the games. The games are tough to watch, man. It's getting.
I didn't know commercials upset you so much.
I hate it. I hate it.
I don't listen to our
It's not
podcast, but it just abruptly stops for a mental health ad in the middle.
Throw in an Arabic lesson in the middle of a commercial.
You know what?
Why are you
enough erectile dysfunction commercials? I'm gonna think I have erectile. It's just how it works. Like, what else are you gonna do? Like, it's ridiculous. Or I've got an eating disorder. Or
it's
I've
a
got,
booming business. It's a booming business. Okay, don't
it's
knock
ridiculous.
If I get on to my social media, my Instagram, and my algorithm suddenly is picked up on hymns and all these erectile dysfunction things, I'm coming for all three of you.
What is on your feed? I get a lot of
my algorithm,
angry chefs, and
I hate that guy.
Well, there's a bunch of them. There's a chick too with like a knife tattoo on her finger.
Yeah,
that one.
I know that one.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm drawn to the angry chefs. I'm not sure. And the cucumber guy. The cucumber guy's all over my feed. Don't say anything, but he's all over my feed. I mean, sometimes
my algorithm is sports, basically 2024 Stevie hot takes and hot chicks.
Okay. Will you be watching playoff baseball tomorrow, Stevie, or the VP debate?
Well, my son has a game at 7, so at the game I will be watching the end of the Orioles game. Also, shout out to the Vienna Little League AA Mesa Nationals 7-0. Okay, there's a starting pitcher who's wreaking havoc on the league right now. Okay,
you're both managers. I just realized that.
Orioles are the 4:00 game, I believe, and no, the wild card is kind of whack. You tune in towards the end of the games. I can't watch the full wild card games. The real stuff starts Saturday with the NLDS, ALDS. I'm not like Matt DeMet. I'm not sitting here taking Arabic lessons, watching games in the background.
Let me paint this picture for you tomorrow, because tomorrow's gonna be a good day. All right. Right around 12 o'clock, you're going to turn on baseball on one television, and you're going to have your Champions League on the other side, on your other television.
I was just about to say, we got
tomorrow, right? I mean, talk about that. And then it just feed it. Like, what else do you need? You got, I mean, and then you have the benefit of football coming in Thursday, Friday, whatever. It's nice. But I'm telling you, man, this is the best time of year. This is the best time of year. Baseball, 100%. Real football, whatever, American football, and then,
I think tomorrow we get do we get Arsenal PSG tomorrow? I think. I need to go check.
I mean, you realize this is a clown production because we haven't even talked about the most amazing event that happened this weekend was the Georgia-Alabama game.
I just don't care at all. I care 0%.
The highlights of that game are crazy. Joe, watch the highlights.
I watched, and he did the pirouette, and he caught the ball.
He's 17,
Joe.
Oh, fine. He's a college kid. Yes, he's going to be 17. I know many of them. They spend so much time in the NIL portal. They're 35. I understand.
You realize he did all of those highlights back to back. It was like 5 drives in a row.
But then the people here locally were like, Virginia Tech got robbed.
They did get robbed.
Who cares?
Well, the pub that our boy Trump got at Tuscaloosa. Okay, when they put him on the jumbotron with our boy Kid Rock and John Daly. Okay.
Hey. As the only person on this panel, okay, who's met Clay Travis, I can tell you he's the draw. That guy's been right.
Please.
That guy's been right about every
bozo interview he did with Trump.
5 years. For 5 years.
Listen to this slate. Arsenal PSG tomorrow.
That's what I said. Arsenal PSG.
Milan Leverkusen. You got Barca playing. You got Inter playing. You got Man City playing tomorrow. All at 3:00.
I'm gonna be tomorrow afternoon is gonna be
tomorrow. Yeah.
Many screens all at once.
Many. All my screens are bringing them all in.
I got one last thing here. Do the Dolphins recover from the situation they're in?
No,
I don't think so.
No,
I think they're done. If they're not trading for a quarterback tomorrow, they're punting on the season. They have to
play again. Did you talk about that?
He should. We talked about it last week. I mean, he should. He's got one more hit before he goes brain dead. I think he should take it.
I think you take your money and go, bro. You've done it. You've earned your money. You don't need the next
Interesting
contract.
from Joe. But
I mean, what happens if he retires? But he didn't get paid if he retires.
No, but he's got already $200 million guaranteed, right?
the Miami Dolphins have their insurance policy that would kick in.
Yeah,
probably.
he gets paid. They get the money back from insurance.
Yeah.
Everybody wins. But Miami just doesn't have a quarterback.
But his number counts against the cap. It's not that they can't just go spend it, right? Like,
but it's lessened.
yeah, I don't know. They look like a mess right now, and the
The
Lions.
Lions do not look like a mess right now.
No, they're putting the beat down on.
Goff is a perfect 12 for 12. He's trying to get his Jaden Daniels on.
Hey, listen, we'll see. I mean, if they pull this off on Sunday, I mean, live show.
The DMV is going to explode.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Matt, thanks for coming on. Stevie, it's good to see you, my friend. FP, always great talking to you as well. The show is DTC, available on all social media platforms, streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. You can listen to the show on every other platform the second we go off the air. So if you only caught half of the episode or a few minutes here and there, make sure you check it out tomorrow on your drive into work or wherever you consume your podcasts. Until then, we are out.